All right, you guys ready for the second Michael? Michael!
Why the grasshopper came into my classroom that day, and how I caught him without my students noticing, I do not know. But immediately, almost instinctively, I knew the universe had a plan. Little known fact, I invented karma. And if not me, some school teacher did. Because how else do you get through that first horrible year unless you think, all this, my bad. But there's got to be that exemplary child, that student who's never done anything wrong, who then becomes a teacher. Her year must suck. Or maybe not. Maybe she gets that classroom filled with children who are eager to learn the wonders of science and math, who thirst after wisdom and understanding. That was not my first year. So my first year, I'm teaching at a very small private school, relatively poor, and I'm teaching 5th and 6th grade all classes, but I'm teaching a high school government class. And those kids just cleaned my clock. I was a 23-year-old graduate student, political science. Little known fact, being excited about Supreme Court cases does not give you additional hit points in your classroom management skills. So these kids were so bad that at their 10-year reunion, 2 guys come up to me and said, "Mr. Horne, we just want to apologize for how awful we were. We were the worst class." And I said, "No, do not feel bad. I locked my home ec teacher in the pantry. I deserved everything I got. Someday, you'll get your comeuppance also." So a few years later, I'm teaching just 5th and 6th grade. They've taken the high school away from me. And I'm teaching just 5th and 6th grade. And I've got this kid, we'll call him Fred. Fred is the big kid in the class. He's the bully. Fred's the kid who would slam your fingers in the locker. Fred is the kid who, when you're playing wall ball and your hands are up against that brick, he's aiming for your kidneys. So my classroom management skills have gotten better. Fred does not bully people in front of me, and there's a kind of peace in the classroom, barely there. So one day, Fred is sitting at the desk, and he's minding his own business. And I just look at him. I said, "Fred, outside." So I go to the door, and I open the door, and Fred is just getting out of his desk so slowly. So I walk outside, and I take the grasshopper, and I put it in my mouth. Now, Fred comes out the door, and he gives me this smug look. This look that says, "Mr. Horne, I've done 10 bad things today that you have no idea about. Whatever it is you're going to yell at me for, bring it on." So I just look at Fred for a moment, and then I open my mouth and stick out my tongue. And the grasshopper sits on my tongue for 2 or 3 seconds. I think he's stunned. And then he jumps off. Fred's head whips back, his eyes open wide, and I grab him by the shoulder. I said, "Fred, sit down, do not say a word." So he's sitting at his desk, and he wants to talk to someone, and I'm just looking at him, and I'm like, no. And so lunchtime comes, and Fred runs outside, and I can imagine all the kids gathered around him, and he's like, "And then, Mr. Horne, opened his mouth, and the grasshopper, giant grasshopper, just sat on his tongue for a minute and then jumped right at me. And all the kids look at him, and they don't say anything because he's big. But they're thinking, you're so full of crap. Sometimes karma happens to you, but sometimes you're the karmic wheel. Thank you.